Stand at the edge of a boat where the water below you turns from blue to black, and something in your chest goes cold before your brain has decided anything. You will call it silly, a grown adult, spooked by deep water you are not even in. But that cold is older than your fear of anything modern, older than roads, older than your own species, and it has been kept alive on purpose, generation after generation, because the people who felt it are the reason you are here at all. Once you see what it was built to do, you will stop apologizing for it. Picture yourself on the back of a boat in open water. You look down, and the blue keeps going. 10 feet, 30, and then it stops being blue at all and turns black. You cannot see the bottom. And right there, before a single thought forms, your body moves without you. Skin tightens, breath goes shallow, a cold line climbs your spine. Nothing has touched you, nothing is wrong. Yet every instinct is saying the same thing. Get back from the edge. You have been taught to be embarrassed by this. Don't be! That reaction is one of the oldest working machines inside you, and here is the first strange thing about it. It was never really about the water, because if the water itself were the problem, a swimming pool would terrify you. It doesn't. Clear, shallow, every tile in view. You stay calm. Now take that same body and set it over a dark lake at night, or a flooded quarry that drops away into nothing, and the calm falls apart into dread. Same water. The only thing that changed is that you can no longer see the bottom, which points straight at the thing you are actually afraid of. And it was never the water at all. One psychologist spent his career chasing a single idea, that underneath every fear you carry sits one deeper fear, the fear of the unknown, the dread of missing information, not knowing what is there. And bottomless dark water is the purest version of that trigger ever built. It hands your brain a blank where an answer should be. Your brain has exactly one ancient rule for a blank near water. Assume something is in it. That rule is wired so deep it doesn't even wait for a real threat to appear. You can prove it on yourself right now. You don't need an ocean or even to stand up. Look at a photograph of open, murky, deep water, just an image on a screen, and the old alarm still stirs. A flicker of unease, a small pull to look away. No wetness, no threat, and the oldest, most reptilian corner of your brain has already flinched. That is not a mood, that is hardware, and you didn't install it, it was handed to you, already loaded. Now go back about 1.8 million years to a place in Tanzania called Olduvai Gorge. In the rock there, scientists dug up the bones of our early human ancestors, and gouged into those bones were bite marks. Crocodile bite marks, on the skulls, on the limbs of the very creatures we descend from. Real teeth, real bone. The fear you feel over dark water is not a metaphor. It is written, literally, in the tooth scars on our family's oldest bones. And this predator was real enough that the scientists gave it a name. They called it Crocodilus anthropophagus. Translate it and it means, plainly, the man-eating crocodile. A horned monster the size of a Nile crocodile, lying in wait at the edge of the water where the light stopped reaching. The thing your imagination paints beneath the black surface once had a body, a habitat, a scientific name, and it hunted us. The cruel part is exactly where it chose to wait. Your ancestors had no choice but to go to the water. That is where you drink, where the prey gathers, where life itself collects, so the shoreline was survival. And it was also the single most likely place on Earth to be seized and pulled under. Drink here, and you might not stand back up. The place that kept them alive and the place that killed them were the exact same place, and the only sane answer was to walk up and stop and dread, which is precisely what you still do. It isn't even unique to us. This caution runs deeper than our whole species. Our closest relatives feel it too. Chimpanzees cannot swim, and they will not try. They take the long way around, cross on fallen logs, edge along sandbars, anything but wade into water they can't see through. Gorillas are the same. Zoos have held them with nothing but a channel of deep water, because a 400-pound silverback will not cross it. They sink. And some deep part of them already knows it, which says something uncomfortable about how we supposedly escaped this fear. We didn't escape it. We are the only great ape that swims, and only because we are taught, one lesson at a time, laid over the old unease like paint over rust. We never deleted the alarm. We trained a workaround, and you can watch the workaround fail. The elite few who need the deep, combat divers, rehearse the panic head-on, hands and feet bound, in a pool, precisely because it never simply leaves anyone, not them, not you, and the deep has a way of killing you while you feel perfectly calm. Here is the detail that should stay with you. Freedivers know a thing called shallow water blackout. As you rise back toward the surface, your oxygen quietly collapses and you can lose consciousness with no warning at all. And survivors describe the opposite of panic in those last seconds. Calm, focus, even bright lights, and a strange kind of peace. The deep can switch off your mind while telling you everything is fine. So the dread that whispers, "Do not trust this calm," is, in that exact moment, the smartest part of you. For most of history, we didn't fight this feeling. We mapped it. For thousands of years, sailors clung to the coastline, refusing to lose sight of land, because the open deep gave them no landmark and no reassurance, only the blank. And on their charts, in exactly those empty blue spaces they could not fill, mapmakers drew serpents and monsters, not as decoration. As a warning, the unknown equals danger instinct inked onto vellum for centuries. Eventually, we gave that dread a face, a size, and a name. The Norse wrote it down around the year 1250 in a text called The King's Mirror, a sea creature so vast that sailors mistook its back for an island until it moved and dragged everything down with it, the Kraken. Long before anyone understood biology, humans had already sketched the deepwater alarm as a beast the size of the sea itself. The monster was never really out there, it was in here the whole time, wearing a costume, and it takes almost nothing to switch that ancient alarm back on. In 1975, a single movie proved the whole point. After Jaws, a Gallup poll found that 35% of people said their fear of swimming in the ocean had gone up, and that summer, real beaches sat measurably emptier. No new predator had appeared. Nothing in the water had changed. One story about a shape beneath the surface was enough to switch a dread the deep had never actually turned off, back on, in millions of people at once. And this isn't some old danger we have outgrown. It is still counting bodies today. Drowning is not a rare tragedy. It is the third leading cause of accidental death on the planet, taking an estimated 236,000 people every single year, and nearly half of them are young. The dark water your instinct flinches from is, right now, one of the most reliable killers of human beings alive. The alarm is not guarding against a ghost. The threat is fully, currently, real, which completely reframes the people we tell that they have a phobia. Clinicians put the diagnosable fear of the sea at only a few % of people. But here is the honest catch. It isn't even tracked as its own condition, so nobody truly has a firm number. And that undercount hides the real story. The clinical few are just the loud end of a dial that almost everyone is standing on. The cold shiver over deep water is not the exception. It is closer to the factory setting. And on a planetary scale, that factory setting turns out to be simply correct. Because most of your own planet is the exact thing you were built to fear. A dark, unmapped drop-off. In 70 years of looking, humans have laid eyes on less than 1,000th of 1% of the deep sea floor, a patch about the size of a small state, out of the 2/3 of Earth that lies underwater. So when something in you says you do not know what is down there, and you should be careful, that is not a broken animal talking. It is the one part of you that has always been telling the truth. You were never afraid of nothing. You were never broken. You were built to respect the blank, and the blank is still there, still unmapped, still waiting. The shiver was never weakness, it was the deepest, oldest honesty you have.